and you want your players at boiling point, but you don't want them to boil over. And they've certainly done that in the last 2 games, with Ayling getting sent off and James as well. Not a player necessarily noted for that type of play. I don't know whether it's Ellen Road. I've seen a few games there this season where it's almost like a throwback, the amount of tackles that are going in, raining in all over the place. But unless they keep all their players on the pitch, Jim, they're not going to stay up. And I certainly wouldn't want to be playing Brighton when we look at what they did recently to Manchester United.
Yeah,
a very difficult game. It's at home. Nothing can go wrong. And they've got so many injuries. I mean, these are club men. I feel like Dallas has been magnificent for Leeds. A really good player, played in loads of different positions.
Now they've lost him.
Ayling as well.
Yeah.
You're losing the core. Bamford not available. These are the core reason why they found themselves in the Premier League.
Surely, Martin, it must be tough to keep your discipline. I mean, again, did I say it, Rob Holding last night? But keep your discipline at key moments. And they haven't been doing that. It's going to prove costly to them.
But these are he's trying to get this team, part of this emotion, isn't it? When we see this sort of high press, we see all these coaches all coming out of this Red Bull Leipzig or this Red Bull franchise, and they're all coaches that want to press, be aggressive, but you've got to stay on the pitch. You've got to get the balance right. And at the moment, the manager is not able to do that. He just needs to take a step back, really, before they go. But I think it's too much for them.
I agree to some extent with Martin, and of course he can speak from experience of being in these pressured situations. But Luke Ayling's decision was not about anything other than getting the Leeds fans behind him in that corner of the pitch at a particular moment in time, because he'd been given a runaround by a particular player. Dan James's decision is just irresponsible. It's not a case of they've got to go into these games with blood and thunder. This is what they've got, right? Against Brighton on Saturday. This is it. This is you either want to stay in this Premier League or you don't, right?
Sunday,
and whether Brighton want this intensity, they're going to have to be at that level. But what that doesn't excuse is irresponsibility. You bring intensity to the pitch, you bring physicality to it, but you don't bring what Luke Ayling brought to that particular situation, because there's no reason behind it. The reason behind it is because he was given a runaround by a certain player and wanted to leave something on him, so the Leeds fans went, "Whoa, Luke Ayling," and what he did was got himself sent off. Dan James, who's been a fundamental disappointment all season to Leeds and a waste of money in my view, has left them in a situation in a game which they might not have expected to get much out of. They might have been able to nick a draw, but has made it virtually impossible for them to do so. Now, against Brighton, what they've got to bring to bear is all of that passion, because it's the intensity that's going to win that game, because Brighton are a better side than they are right now. So they've got to do something different.
I felt sorry for them, though, I must say. Harrison going off as well, injured. Everything that could go wrong went wrong in that game. And it is, Simon, when you're trying to bring a team along, the motivation comes from the manager. It's all about environment. So the atmosphere you walk into, it's charged. When you play at Ellen Road, those fans, you can't. And I was up for that. Yeah, okay, let's get it on. Your team wants to do this, but at the end of the day, you've got to stay on the pitch. So this is what we're saying. You've got to play with your head.
But the individual decisions. Everton are playing in a pressure cooker atmosphere. The same thing, but their players are responding in a certain way. Leeds players are responding in another way. And to some extent, I absolutely concur with you. The manager is responsible for charging these players and getting them to think. But at the end of the day, it's individual decisions.
Yeah, but Everton have got it wrong for a while. There was a lot of ill discipline there. A lot of players. If you look at the numbers, Everton were losing players as well, but they're getting the balance right now. This is what it is. It's balance.
Sure.
Yeah. It's like, be at boiling point, but don't boil over.
Absolutely right.
Which is what someone should have said to me this morning.
First team in Premier League history ever to reach 100 cards in one season.
It's remarkable.
I mean, honestly, it's remarkable. Do you think they'll avoid the drop?
No, I think they'll go down. I think, there's some football to be played, but I just wouldn't want to be playing Brentford. Last game of the season, it's a fanfare. They've done magnificent stuff. And Brighton at home, they've been brilliant. They beat Manchester United. They actually took Manchester United to the cleaners last time out.
Yeah.
So, and of course, then what's left? What's left available in the team? Who are the players you can rely upon? Again, it's like they're 4 central defenders playing across the back line. We just heard from Mele there as well, and you talk about mistakes. I know he made a massive mistake in the Arsenal game, and it's like, of course, you've got to try and minimise those mistakes. That's what goalkeepers do, but he's only 22 years of age. It's commendable what he's done, but he's got to minimise. He's got to stop making mistakes.
Yeah.
And you've got to do it on the pitch, Jim. You can talk as much as you want, but once you do it,
if they beat Brighton, Leeds, and it's a big if, but if they beat Brighton, and don't forget,
gives them a great chance.
The Brighton situation against Man United, you couldn't have played against a more under-aroused, gutless team than United on the pitch last week. So Leeds aren't going to be gutless and under-aroused. The challenge is they're going to be over-aroused, and they've got to manage that situation. Now, Burnley, we would expect, by the logic we've discussed, are going to get bashed into the next life by Tottenham, right? Then Burnley have got Villa again. and they've just gotten turned over by Villa, and those results can go one way or the other. They can either respond to it or get done again. And then it's the last game of the season, they're away to they're at home Newcastle. So I do think there's still a puncher's chance for Leeds. I'm with Martin. I think they've put themselves in an awful position, and I think on the balance of probability, and I talked to some quite big Leeds fans during the course of the week who think they're done. Right?
Really? They do.
They do.
They think they're done.
But I think if they can beat Brighton, and I think they will beat Brighton, one way or another, I think they'll beat Brighton because they'll have just more desire in this game than Brighton will have. That puts everything back on Burnley. Burnley gets smashed by Tottenham on the weekend. All of a sudden, it's game on for those. And then they've got Brentford. I know it's a parade, but it ain't a parade for Leeds. Leeds will take 6,000 fans down to Brentford Stadium, and they'll make it in a fortress in the reverse.
So, Simon, whose relegation gamble, if you like, is looking more likely to pay off? Everton hiring Frank, Leeds sacking Bielsa, or Burnley saying goodbye to Deitch?
Everton hiring
Frank.
Because I think they're away now.
Well, and Burnley.
Well, yeah, I think Burnley.
They've won 3 of the last 4
games. I think
games.
we're nip and tuck. I personally don't necessarily concur with the view that much would have been any different if Sean Dyche would have been there. We'll never know that because he isn't. But the bottom line is that I think there's a distinct possibility that margins are Burnley or Leeds. So the question has to be asked. And now, because obviously otherwise once the outcome is determined, you know the answer.
Yeah.
I think it's nip and tuck between Burnley and Leeds.
Okay.
I don't think Jesse Marsch is a
2
good
home games now
appointment.
for Everton coming up as well. So
sure thing.
Yeah, I think
I was
they're away.
concerned. I thought maybe they
Everton.
could have done it against Watford. It was a very tepid game.
Yeah.
It might prove to be a really good point, but also they might regret that.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.